there is this strange war on white people in our day, which a lot of people, even just hearing that phrase, go, worry, but it's absolutely the case. Racism in our day is rightly deemed to be totally impermissible in the public square, with one exception, which is white people, about whom you can say absolutely anything now. And people do, and I give a remorseless number of examples in the book. I mean, if any group of people, if you took what is now said about white people in America, Britain, and elsewhere, and said it about any other group, you would be regarded rightly as a racist. In a lot of countries, you'd be locked up for hate speech. But this is now not just normal rhetoric, but instilled and installed in every area of government, in countries including Britain and the United States. It's instilled through the media, through academics, through the military, through absolutely every level of our societies. White people are seen as being a problem, and a problem for whom a remedy must be found. Now, of course, some of the maniacs who have been pushing this, like Robin DiAngelo, who herself is white and is, of course, the author of White Fragility, which sold about 500,000 copies after the death of George Floyd, says there is no good form of being white. No good form of being white. And there's a rider. You also can't escape it. You can't escape it. So you can't shift to another racial group. You can't identify as not being white if you're white. She doesn't know what it is. And I don't think anyone really does. It's a very weird category to even talk about people in these contexts, But if you said that about any other group of people, if you said there is no good form of blackness, none, and don't ever try to stop being black because you can't get out of it, we'd go, wow, that's a racist. That's a big racist right there. Well, it's racist when they do it about white people as well. The talk of white privilege has become a racist trope, quite clearly. The talk of white tears, white female tears, try that any other way, black tears, black female tears. Oh, she's just crying black tears. Whoa, you'd say, that's a racist. So it is when they say white tears. What about white rage? One of the ones that they've, in this attempt to pathologize being white, they've come up with most recently, particularly in the wake of January the 6th, white rage. No less a figure than General Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the US, testifying before Congress, addressed the issue of so-called white rage. He said, I want to learn about white rage. I want to find out what it is. Let's try the other way around. One more time. Black rage. Let's look into it. Ooh, you'd say, that doesn't sound like a very nice thing to do. Why don't we just talk about rage in general? White rage, black rage. Only one of those is a permissible thing to talk about. Only one of those you'd catch the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff using before Congress.
Where does this asymmetry come from, then? Is it because white people are seen to, it's always punching up toward white people? Is it this current trend that we have toward anti-Westernism, colonialist, imperialists, reparations need to come from the past, and that white people are, and that skin color is a representation of that as an ideology, or as like the modern day tip of the spear of that history?
I think it's an attempt to rectify a historic wrong, and a wildly misguided attempt at it. So, I mean, I think we talked about this when we talked about the madness of crowds. We talked about the fact that there's such a thing as an overcorrection in social issues. Nobody denies that women historically were not able to make the same life choices as men were able to make. They didn't have as much freedom in general. They didn't. And so if you want to make up for that historic wrong, the obvious thing to do is just make everyone equal. A certain type of person says, no, we can make up for it faster by punishing men for a time. Nobody can deny that gay people historically were not treated equally as straight people. There's a type of person who says, let's attack the heterosexuals for a bit, instead of saying, why don't we just have equality? In the same way, nobody with any sense would be able to deny that historically racism has existed in countries of the West, as it has in all countries. It's a very, very ugly human instinct, one of the worst. And it exists it exists in particular American society. Exists still. There are still pockets of racism in America, not legitimate or in any way mainstream, but there are some people who will hold racist views, and but they're all on the margins. Nevertheless, you can't deny that historically America has been a white-dominated country in which black people were oppressed for a very long time, and until not that long ago. What do you want to do to make up for that? Again, you have the same options as you have women and other minority issues. You can decide to go for equality, or you can decide to overdo it for a bit, overcorrect. And the overcorrection in race is, let's beat up on the white people for a bit.
What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full, unedited episode. And don't forget to subscribe. Peace.